should get a table. There, we got a table.
Now we're too close. Okay. Yeah.
How we start this?
Hi there.
Hi there. Don't know how the audio is on this.
Welcome to the first episode of Movie Reviews.
Yeah.
Now, we've been reviewing a lot of stuff for a long time on this channel, particularly not in review format, but just complaining about shit. So we thought a new movie came out. It heavily affects us based on, I'm sure you know, based on the content we release and my hat. It's a pretty big deal to us, and we've heard a lot of things said. There's lots of birds.
There's lots of work. I want to point out something. We kind of wanted to do this when The Last Jedi came out, and part of us, we also want to point out the good things. A lot of people only ever point out the negatives.
I mean, The Last Jedi was a pretty big dumpster fire.
It was.
Ways. Yikes.
But I also think some people have the wrong opinions and wrong mindsets at looking at things.
Well, not wrong opinions.
I meant mindset, but
mindset.
I don't know. And so I think we got to clear up a few things with this review.
We're going to defend this movie because we haven't actually stated our opinion on it.
Oh yeah. So
we love this movie.
Yeah. Spoilers.
It's my second favorite in the franchise.
Oh yeah, second favorite.
Close second to The Lost World and Jurassic World tied. Can't really decide which one of those I like more, but it's my second favorite in the franchise, and that's not because it's far off from the original. That's because I genuinely think this is a fucking awesome movie for a lot of reasons that we'll get into.
I also thought it was really good. It's also my second favorite. I did a lot that I was hoping it would do, and it did more. It had the spooky feeling that I was looking for. It had the action-packed stuff. It had like great moments. It had good pacing, decent character development. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really good. Good use of the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna get into spoilers now, I think.
So that's our opinion on it.
Oh yeah.
Now spoiler territory. Now the movie's been out for a while, so I'm sure most of you have seen it. But if there's the odd chance you haven't, which I doubt anyone who watches our channel, the two people that do, I'm sure you've all seen it. But regardless, spoilers from here on in.
Yeah.
Okay. Our thoughts on different parts of the movie. First off, the opening scene. Absolutely perfect. The opening scene was such a flawless scene. It was probably one of my favorite scenes in Jurassic Park. Hell, maybe movies ever. It might be in my top 10. The atmosphere was flawless. Jay Bayona clearly knows what he's doing with the camera. The suspense, the music, everything. The dinosaurs in it, it was flawless. There were a few cock teases with the Dilophosaurus not being there, and you hear the sound. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to, but they cut it. I'm not going to talk about that. The point is, it was an awesome scene. Flawless. One of the best in the franchise, without a doubt. Probably one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Not only that, it did a lot too, because it sets up the Indoraptor, because they have to get the skeleton, which is what they're there looking for. They get that, and also it also sets up for the fact that the Mosasaurus gets out because of the gate obviously not being closed fully. It's able to get out, as we see in later on, I think.
Basically, it does a lot.
It was great.
It does a lot.
We see the T-Rex back in action, Rexy back in action. We'd love to see that.
And it's so dark. It sets the tone perfectly. The dark, gothic, dramatic, twisted feeling of the movie. It was a great scene.
And they barely get away with it. It's great. Yeah.
So next, characters. Because this is when we're introduced to our main characters. When we see Bryce Dallas Howard, Claire Deering, we see her in the Dinosaur Protection Group.
She's quite a different character than the first one, which I'm liking a lot better now.
So this is the first main point we're going to try and defend. The new characters, a lot of people are complaining about them. Here's the thing. They really didn't ruin the movie for me.
Oh no.
I thought the guy was more of a tension breaker than a ha-ha hilarious character. So when he said something stupid that wasn't knee-slappingly funny, I just brushed it off because it's in tons of that type of humor is in tons of blockbuster movies, including the Marvel movies, which are absolutely praised. Nothing he said was too annoying. I thought some of them got a light smirk from me, some of them didn't at all.
Some of the moments were good.
It didn't matter. He was meant to break the tension, not to be hilarious. When there's a tense moment and it's getting really crazy, he's meant to kind of relieve you and be like...
He was also needed as for a part of the plot, as a hacker type guy.
Yeah.
So they did actually need him. It's not like, oh, why is he in the movie just for some comedic relief? Well, no, that's why Chris Pratt's in. But,
As for the girl...
Also, he had some good moments, like the latter part. That was his better part. One
Yeah.
of his better parts.
Also, the scream.
funny.
Why are people complaining about the scream?
Oh, his
I never
scream?
really noticed it. Like, even in the trailers, like he screamed at a dinosaur. In my opinion, it was so like gut-wrenchingly like it sounded so genuine. It sounded more like he was actually terrified than it was meant to be for comedic effect. So like, I really didn't see it as being funny. I'm sure that some people did, because it seems obviously like if you're trying to pick out flaws with the movie and his character, it's obvious to say, oh, that was a poorly timed and poorly executed joke. But to me, it just seemed like a young actor trying to do a scream that was really loud, and it sounded like that. Like, I didn't really think it didn't do
like,
that much.
If you're going on like down a roller coaster, you're gonna scream like that.
Yeah,
It's like it's scary.
He's in a tunnel with a dinosaur. He screamed. It's like
It's like lava falling from the ceiling.
it didn't sound too high pitched to be a joke, in my opinion. I don't know.
No.
Either way, as for her character, Zia Rodriguez, I forget the actress's name. Forgive me.
She's not really in it that much.
She at first I was like, oh, this is gonna be a classic sassy, strong, independent woman, feminist type character, which isn't bad if done well, but. In my opinion, I really liked her because of the scene where she's in awe of the Brachiosaurus, and you hear her say, all I ever have wanted to do is see a dinosaur. Like, that's something that people who love this franchise totally get. We wanted to see these creatures. We loved them when we were kids. We loved them as adults. That's why many adult fans still love these movies. So for that, because of that arc of her character where she just wanted to see a dinosaur and just this thing she's loved all her life, to see it finally, to me, I sympathize with that totally, and that's why I think her character is more than redeemable. Plus, I mean, in these movies, you always have to have someone new who's never seen the dinosaurs to be amazed, right? I mean, at this point, every other character's seen the dinosaurs, so there's no one to be like in awe and wonderment of them and surprised by them anymore if we didn't add those two new characters. So I think for that sake, they will.
Yeah, she also reminds me a lot of Ellie Sattler, kind of.
Yeah.
She kind of has that same kind of like, I don't need your help. Like, I don't know. It was good. I think it was done. It wasn't like, no, it was good. I liked it.
Okay, the next big problem people say they have with the movie is why did they need Chris Pratt and Owen and Claire. I shouldn't use an actor and then the character's name. Why did they need Owen and Claire to go back to the island? I totally bought that.
Yeah. They needed
the
Blue.
fingerprint scan. They needed her for the fingerprint scan, and more importantly, they needed her to get to him, right? To get to Chris Pratt's character, Owen. And as for why they needed Owen, did you watch Jurassic World? He's the only person in the world who can control a raptor. Like they say in the movie, they need Blue so she can act as a parent to the Indoraptor. The reason why they need that is so that the thing won't become a savage killer, which makes total sense, right? It imprints on it. Who's the number one raptor expert in the world, and the only person who has been able to bond with them and train them and have like a relationship,
any experience at all,
any experience with them? It's probably Owen. Probably the guy who's pet them, and whatever. That was the dumbest thing. That's such a dumb point. Like, of course they need them. They need her to get to him, and because her fingerprint, and they need him. Also, are you gonna go for people who worked at, like, people have said, why didn't they get park engineers and workers to do it instead of getting her? Like, yeah, sure, she was like a head manager of the island, but she wouldn't know the layout of the park as well as like an engineer would. Well, why would you go get an engineer who probably doesn't want to ever go back to that island and is terrified, as opposed to someone who publicly broadcasts that they love the dinosaurs and wants to save them, to the point where they have started a movement called the Dinosaur Protection Group. She ticks all the boxes. She can get them to Owen. She has the fingerprint access. She probably knows enough about the park layout that she can get them around. Probably not the most out of anyone, but enough to get them where they need to go. And she publicly broadcasts on TV how much she loves them and wants to save the dinosaurs, to the point where she started a charity organization called the Dinosaur Protection Group. Like, she's literally the ideal candidate to go. And then he obviously is the only one who can go for his role. So, as for why they needed them back on the island, I totally bought it. it makes complete sense if you pay attention to this one or the previous film.
Yeah.
Sorry, rant over. That
What else did
that
they
point
complain
pissed me off. People complained about how. What else was it?
I think dialogue was part of it, but I didn't really find that a problem.
A big problem they said was. A big problem people complained about was the Lockwood part and how it took up a big chunk of the film and how it wasn't on the island.
What else would they fill it up with?
We've seen dinosaurs on an island many times.
Oh yeah.
We haven't seen them in a creepy, haunted,
And if
gothic
they,
house.
If they if they extended that part, it wouldn't have felt as good as it was.
Yeah, and they did a lot with it. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like it was slow. It was constant action. I mean, you got the
That's the
Stygian
thing.
Moloch breaking it. You got the auction. You got Blue and the Indoraptor fight. You got the T-Rex breaking it and killing Nils, right? I mean, there tons happened. It was not slow. It was go, go, go from the second they get there. Secondly, it wasn't really one setting. It wasn't just the house because a lot of it was in the secret underground lab complex, which had a totally different feeling from the house because it was like a typical Jurassic Park laboratory with like dino cages and it looked super cool. So like really, it's two different settings. It's the lab and then the house. They're different. Like, you can't treat them like they're the same. Sure, they're spatially they're in the same spot, but like they're two completely different feeling settings.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And they needed to spend so much time there to kind of get all the dinosaurs in and then have the auction, which also takes up a bunch of time. And then they need to break out of all their cells and then release into the world, which is the other part of the time. And within all that time, you got the Indoraptor sequence happening.
Okay, so another big flaw people say they have with the movie is the lack of like awe and amazement for the dinosaurs. Specifically, this was a point brought up in Best in Slot's review. Now, I'm a big fan of Best in Slot as a YouTuber, however, I do not agree with this point.
I don't know.
And specifically, I don't agree with it because one, he talks about how in the original movie we had the Brachiosaurus scene, and also the tree scene with the Brachiosaurus. You know, those were the scenes that really gave us a sense of awe and wonderment, where we can just stand and look and be amazed with these dinosaurs. We get that in this movie. We get it when they first see the Brachiosaurus on Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
We get it when it's on the dock, and in my opinion, that's probably one of the most amazing and like awe-inspiring and like majestic scenes ever is on that dock. Yeah. We get.
You get a little bit in the cells when they're in the cells.
We get in the cells with the trike and the
baby trike.
and we get all the scene, basically every scene with the T-Rex where it just roars and you just see it roar, and like all the awe and spectacle of it is another scene like that. It's just like when the T-Rex first breaks out in the first movie, where it's this giant, amazing, powerful thing, and you just kind of stare at how amazing it is. Like there are tons, if not more, scenes in this movie that do that. And also, the reason why there's a lot of action scenes that kind of don't do that is because you got to do something new. I mean, this is the only dinosaur movie franchise on the planet. It's the only one. If you want a cool scene with a dinosaur, you're not going to get it anywhere else but in this franchise. So, if you want to see something cool done with these dinosaurs, something cool and action-packed and epic and crazy awesome, as much as it doesn't fit with the original movie, the franchise has changed. It still has all those majestic scenes, but they got to do something new with it. Because let's face it, just like in Jurassic World, how they talk about dinosaurs aren't amazing people, we got to make the Indominus Rex. People aren't amazed by CGI anymore. The reason why people were so amazed by the first movie is because the fact that the dinosaurs existed at all, and it was amazing. You know,
They were believable.
yeah, it was unbelievable. But like, we've seen that now. Now you have to do something with that. You can't just have the T-Rex break out and walk around. We've seen that before, and as cool as it was, and it'll be my favorite scene in any movie ever. You got to do something more with that. You got to have an action epic fight, because you just do. You can't have the same thing over and over again, because not only would it not work with the movie's narrative, and it would feel repetitive, it just wouldn't amaze audiences.
Also, they upscaled it. Like, in Lost World, you just had the T-Rex break out in the cities. Now, everything's released in the entire world. Like, it's just, we're open now.
I heard
That's great. I love that open ending, because they can do so much with it now. It's unbelievable. And I don't think people realize that, how open-ended it is now, and so much they can do with it. Like, we have no clue what they're going to do now. Like, we have no, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be good, I think.
The sequel's gonna be awesome. Also, another thing, tying in with what you said, people complain about how this ending. This was specifically in the Nostalgia Critics' little talk on it. He said he talked about how, or I think it was his brother. I don't know. I like them both. I'm not attacking any people. I don't agree with their points on this movie, and I'll get into why I think so many people have said this about the movie, negative things. But regardless, he talked about how it seemed like we were at the same spot here at the end of this movie as we were at the end of The Lost World. Whereas at the end of The Lost World, there was the dinosaur on the mainland. In this movie, there's dinosaurs on the mainland. These situations are so vastly different.
So different.
Here, in The Lost World, it was one dinosaur that got captured and sent back to a place where now they belong. There's a place where dinosaurs can go, where all the other ones are trapped and people are safe. It's one threat. In this movie, every dinosaur is off the island. Every dinosaur is free. People have dinosaurs all over the world. We see people with dinosaurs on planes and trucks at the end of the movie being carted off to different criminals and warlords and stuff. We know that we got away with all this DNA and maybe more hybrids. I hope they don't, because I think
I'm pretty sure
the Indoraptor was the perfect way to end the hybrid thing.
Yeah.
But
you see the Mosasaurus,
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was a post-credit scene which we actually missed. With Pteranodons on the Eiffel Tower, I think.
Yeah, in Las Vegas.
The
Las Vegas Eiffel Tower. But exactly.
I haven't seen the scene myself.
This takes it to in the first Jurassic Park. We hear a warning from Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm. We hear him say, "We need to stop this. The genie's out of the bottle. You wield nature like a kid who wields his dad's gun in the boardroom scene." And he basically warns John Hammond, or humanity, saying, "This is already too far. Don't push it." The T-Rex attack on San Diego was like that warning. It was like, that was the warning. This movie is what he warned us about. This is that coming to fruition. That's why at the end, the same guy, Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm says, "Welcome to Jurassic World," because that's what he warned us about is coming to fruition. It's happening. This isn't one dinosaur that can be recaught with a girl with a tranquilizer on the boat. It's all done. It's done.
Been unleashed.
Yeah, everything's unleashed, and it's all around the world, and we can't track them, and we can't find them. It ups the ante 100-fold. And as for people saying there weren't enough dinosaurs to really prove a threat, they said, there's 20 dinosaurs. In the movie, they talked about how there was a shipment of dinosaurs that came, a team of hunters came before and took a bunch.
Oh yeah.
So there's probably 100 dinosaurs. We don't see them all, but
I kind of doubt that was the first auction, but
really even if it was the first auction,
even if it was,
there's still tons of dinosaurs in storage. I mean, for all we know, that lab complex with all those cells could have gone on farther and farther and farther. I mean, they said there were other shipments who came, caught more dinosaurs, and took off. Right? So I mean, there's way more than we see in the movie. I mean, just look at the Dinosaur Protection Group website with their list of dinosaurs to see that. I mean, there's still tons surviving that could have gotten off, like the Spinosaurus and stuff, which we never saw, but for all we know, it could have.
Yeah. And also, I don't know how much time is going to pass between the movies, but there's also the possibility of they breed and more are even there.
Exactly.
But because they'll be hard to find and they can cause a lot of havoc. So I don't know, it'd be neat, like a apocalyptic.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But Clayton Fioriti, a YouTuber I greatly respect and love. He's one of my favorite YouTubers now. His review, he's saying what we're basically saying, how the movie was great. But he talks about, in one of his news videos, he talked about how this movie uses a lot of stuff that was in the books, that the best parts of the books that never got released, and people have always wanted to see on screen. Specifically, the end of the first Jurassic Park had this whole plot line at the end where the dinosaurs get off the island and they get to the mainland and they're eating people's crops and they're free. And they never really did anything that with the book sequel or any of the movie sequels, and now that's happening in this movie. The world is being retaken. The scale of what's happening is much grander than people are giving it credit for. It's not 20 dinosaurs, it's dinosaurs DNA that's everywhere. Hundreds of dinosaurs that can possibly breed due to the changing of genders with the frog DNA. I mean, welcome to Jurassic World. As Ian Malcolm said.
Yeah.
So yeah. Basically, the ending stakes of this film are much grander than The Lost World, despite what some people have said.
Oh yeah.
Another big criticism. The tone. People say the tone's different. Yes, the tone is different. The tone is much darker, more dramatic, more gothic, more epic and grand, and it feels much more like a superhero or Indiana Jones movie than a typical Jurassic Park movie, which in the past have always had very grounded, real characters, up until sort of Jurassic World, where it took it slightly more blockbustery, and now it's just full, like, evil mustache-twirling villains. I like that.
Oh yeah.
It's not as interesting of a character, but it's super fun to see these evil bad guys sell dinosaurs to Russian mobsters. I mean, you can laugh and say that's stupid all you want, but at the end of the day, it's fucking awesome. Like, how cool is that? Like it's just cool. Like, sometimes you just gotta enjoy it because it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that's never happened in the franchise, and it's much more epic and grand. And seeing these dinosaurs be blown up to this super, like this shot where the Indoraptor's on the roof and you see his hand come over, and the epic like choir music that sounds like some Duel of the Fates shit. I mean, that's awesome. That's just cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's just neat.
Also, we haven't really had like a too bad of a villain. Like now there's a bit more plot that's going on. Like, oh, you did realize that the old guy's actually good and his son is like actually bad and he's controlling the whole thing. His dad didn't know.
And now it's just all going to crap and kills his.
I don't think it's his dad.
It's not his dad.
No, I don't think it's his dad. I'm pretty
I
sure
kinda forget.
Mills is not his dad.
He was like some. I don't know. Yeah.
He trusted him with his fortune. But
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
yeah.
It wasn't his.
But yeah, no.
Some guy that took over the company.
Basically. But yeah, I think it's neat. I mean, look in the first movie. How deep and how much depth did Dennis Nedry have? I mean, he was a fat, greedy guy who liked to eat a lot, who stole some things to make $1 million because he wasn't getting paid enough. I mean, it wasn't an interesting character. He was fun to watch. He was the perfect amount of villain we need, because that's all it really is. We don't need an evil mustache-twirling villain. I mean, we don't need a super interesting villain, because the dinosaurs are the focus, right? The focus isn't this villain's story. So having a villain like this, a big evil bad guy villain, you can't criticize it for having not enough depth, because really Nedry never did. Like, and he's probably the most famous Jurassic Park villain there is, from the one movie that's the most respected. And they're fun. They're just fun villains that set up a cool story. They do what they need to do, and they're not
mainly
focused.
just side villains. Like the main villains are supposed to kind of be the dinosaurs. Like
Well,
they're
the Indoraptor.
they're the main antagonists. So you can't expect too much from them.
Not the normal dinosaurs, but like
Oh yeah, but like Indominus Rex and the Raptor, Spinosaurus.
another thing, the Indoraptor. People criticizing it because it's too human and goofy. I loved it. I thought it was so much more interesting than the Indominus Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, I loved the scene with it wagging the tail. I know people said that was a little goofy. I can kind of see that, but at the same time, you gotta remember the Indominus Rex was a creature that was able to mark up its own paddock to fake its breakout, trick people into going into it, hiding its thermal signature so that they couldn't detect it, and then stage a breakout. So, I don't think it moving its tail to trick the guy into turning around is that much more intelligent. Like, as for why the thing was smiling, because people say it looked like the Indoraptor was smiling during the movie, I think that's just its natural face.
I don't really think that they intended it to be that way.
It looked like it was smiling kind of all the time because it had a permanent sort of sadistic grin on its face to show it was a little more deranged and demented than normal. But like, even if it was, okay, I don't care. I mean, really. I mean, they say the Indominus was killing for sport in the last movie, meaning they both take pleasure out of, and fun, I guess, but however much fun they can have, they take pleasure out of killing stuff. So, I mean, is it doing this with its cheek really that much farther? I mean, I don't know. I thought it was definitely animalistic enough that it was still a dinosaur, because it definitely wasn't. But like, I thought it had a lot more personality than the Indominus, which I liked. I thought it was awesome. I really like the Indoraptor.
Yeah,
The lawnmower's quieter.
it did a lot of things we expected it to do, and I think it even did more. Like the beginning scene, we thought, like it ended up being way better than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think part of the reason I loved it is the last point I want to touch on. I think a lot of people went into this movie with the wrong mindset. People who didn't like Jurassic World went in thinking it was going to be another stupid blockbuster like that was. People who went into it, like critics, went in going to pick out all the little problems with it. For someone like me who's a huge fan, I think it took the franchise to a new awesome place that we've never seen before, that's super interesting. It's like something we would write as kids as fan fiction, but brought up to a movie. And I still think the fact that it builds off of characters like Jeff Goldblum, I still think it keeps it grounded and respectful enough.
Like good references.
And it did what the book did, right? Like, it does what was in the book, so it sort of knows when it's too much when it comes to the goofy, over-the-top stuff, and it knows when it's not. I mean, like, Mills from this movie is just like Hammond from the book. I mean, right? And people still respect that as an extremely good story, right? So basically, all in all, I think people went into it wanting to hate it, or wanting to pick out or call it a dumb blockbuster, because, I mean, let's face it, the trailers killed this movie.
Oh,
It had a T-Rex with the volcano, and that's all it was, and it had Chris Pratt saying, "This is going to be awesome." Like, they made the movie look like it was going to be an over-the-top action movie, and that's what people went in thinking it would be, and every time it did something that felt like that, they just said it was stupid. And I think if you really go into this movie wanting to have a good time like I did, because I was worried that it would suck, because I heard tons of reviews saying it was bad, and I saw it the second day. I mean, the first day it was out, people were saying it was bad. I walked into this movie hoping it would be good, and being worried it would be bad, and I walked out
the
loving it.
best, but
Yeah.
thinking of the worst, really.
At the end of the day,
It was great.
it comes down, everyone has their own opinion.
Walked out with a great big
I
smile.
walked in wanting a fun dinosaur movie that takes the franchise to new places while still feeling like Jurassic Park. And I totally thought it did that 100%. The only criticism I say I would have is that it sort of was a little bit of a cock tease at parts where it didn't do things with some of the new dinosaurs, like the Carnotaurus, Baryonyx, Allosaurus. But I think it's going to do lots with them in the sequel, and what we got to see with them, even with my favorite dinosaur, the Allosaurus. I mean, I was a little disappointed all we got to see of it was what we got. But the shots that we got of it, where it's in the cage, and
It's
we
also
hear
a
the
lot
guy
of
talk
like
about it. I mean, it
setting
was
up,
awesome.
kind of. Like they're
Yeah.
setting them up, so at least they're there in the world now, and now they can do whatever they want with them in the next one.
I mean, it had to set up a big movie. I mean, the next one's going to be huge. I mean, this is going to be like an apocalyptic scale event. So, anyways, I'm done rambling. Sorry he didn't talk as much. I've just been...
He wanted to get it off his chest.
He's been on vacation where I've been here, hearing all these reviews from people.
He's had it
And
on his
I've
mind
just
for
been
like a
thinking
week.
about it for a while, so I just had to say some of this. It's been pissing me off. But everyone has their own opinion. To me, it's unfair that this movie, the popular opinion is that it's not a good film. Because in my opinion, that's just not true. It's a fun Indiana Jones style movie that does exactly what it needs to, which is be faithful but also do new stuff. And I think it does it totally. So I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? I'd also give it a 9 out of 10. That's our
Agreeing score here. I guess we'll just take an average. But
our average is 9 out of 10. I could even do a little higher.
Yeah, honestly,
9.1
like really,
even, but-
I would say 9 or 10 out of 10, really. It could go either way for me.
I'd say Jurassic Park's 10 out of 10. Jurassic World's like an 8.5, and this sits in the middle.
Yeah, Lost World is an 8.
Oh yeah. And Jurassic Park 3, we don't have to rate.
Anyhow, we hope you've enjoyed. Sorry for my ramblings, but I had to say it.
yeah,
We will see you.
next review and next time.
I think we'll do this again.
I think we will for sure for the next one in 2 years.
Yeah. And here, we bid you adieu.
Wish I had a hat. Scrap my hands.
Great.